Hi, everyone. Welcome to Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. My name is Janie Charlot, and I'm your host, and I'm co-hosting today with Russell Bruce.
Hello, everyone out there.
All right, so in today's podcast, we are talking about 10 ways to relieve stress. This podcast is a podcast to raise awareness and to awaken humanity to everything that is already within. It is a podcast where we focus on aligning our hearts with our minds. And in that process, it's so important for us to align what we say, what we do, and what we think all together. Because if you think in one way and you're doing something differently, it's going to pull you in two different directions and you will not feel aligned. And so it's so important during this time. We're seeing a lot of things going on. There's, of course, we're dealing with a pandemic. We're seeing a lot of death. We're seeing a lot of sickness. We're seeing some real devastating things. And I think it's so important for us to realize that there are ways for us to relieve stress. So we're going to jump right on into that.
All right, so with us living in the information age, and information is like multiplying so rapidly these days, it can be both a good and a bad thing. Like we can make decisions in seconds or hours that before it was taking weeks and months to make. So that's the good thing. The bad thing is we could also inflict pain on ourselves and others more rapidly as well. So some people can experience a lifetime of pain in just one day based upon information, like people sending them emails or texts stating that somebody died or someone said something ill of them or whatever, just a whole bunch of negative information. So we really need to pay attention to the type of information we receive, where we're receiving it from, and how we could actually control that.
Yeah.
All right, so getting into this, we're going to jump into number one, which is quiet the noise. And the first thing I would suggest to do is turn off the television. If it's not forever, just for a few days, just to see if it changes your state of mind or your stress levels. Because it seems like we're getting a lot of dictates from the television as to how we should think and feel about certain issues. And if you don't quiet your thoughts and say meditate and try to get things from a higher level, from your higher spiritual self to formulate better opinions on things so that you can deal with the stress a little better. If you don't do that, you're going to follow the dictate of what's being projected upon you. And right now, we are all being fed fear. That's, at the end of the day, that's what sells. They're not going to sell you all the great stories that are happening in your community and in the world, because it does not sell commercial space. Death, despair, all of that stuff sells. So that's just the truth of it. So if you're going to watch it, make sure you watch it with a very discerning eye. All
right. Number two is breathe. It's so important to actually breathe during very stressful times and situations. Oxygen is the thing that drives life. We need it to breathe. It is the element that we need to breathe. So it's so important that you take in good full breaths and release the stress, release the energy, release whatever is bothering you. Take in life, and let out the drama. Literally, breathe in, and release everything. When you're doing your breathing techniques, it's good to be conscious of doing this maybe 3 or 4 times throughout your day. So if you're working, you're in a high stress environment, take that time to breathe. It's good to breathe in and let out the exact amount of times, or about the same amount of seconds that you would breathe in. So if you breathe in about 4 to 5 seconds, try to release 4 to 5 seconds. And you have no idea how much energy we absorb all day long from things and situations and people, and so it's so important to really let it out. So let it out.
What are some of the things that getting in more fresh oxygen? I hear that breathing in more fresh oxygen into your lungs.
It expands the lungs.
How about the blood?
It actually flushes the blood. It rejuvenates the blood. Just think about it. Water is H2O. We get oxygen in water when we drink water. We need oxygen in everything. I mean, it is literally the air that we need to survive. So breathe in all that oxygen that you can and release all the stress and all, the exhale. Release all of it out of you as often as you can, because truly breathing techniques help. It helps so much. And just you could tell when you okay, it's cool. Let's go on to number 3.
Number 3. One more thing before we go to 3. In 1920, Otto Warburg in Germany won the Nobel Peace Prize for discovering what caused cancer. And he came to the conclusion that it was a lack of oxygen to the cells.
Oh, definitely.
So oxygen plays a big
every
part.
single cell in our body needs oxygen. Every single cell. Every single cell. Again, every single cell in our body needs oxygen. We're not getting enough oxygen. And just think about the environments. The pollution in the air, smoky environments. Just imagine how polluted our oxygen really is. And if you're not getting out in nature, you're stuffy in a room. You're not getting good, clean oxygen, good, clean air. That is the thing that the spirit just breathe into us.
And then a couple other things is, like when it's cold outside, people tend to start to breathe more shallow. You're you're breathing more shallow and you're not getting more oxygen in, and over a period of time you start to develop colds, things of that nature, because you're not getting enough oxygen into your blood. Also, if you were one who likes to watch scary movies, like the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. So you're there tense and you're like, they're playing the music, dun, 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 and you're like, you're sitting there getting stressed out, taking short breaths, and now you're causing your body, your brain to start releasing chemicals. You're in that fight or flight mode. Even though it's not really happening to you, your body reacts as if it is. So to take away that stress,
that's true.
Breathe deeply.
Definitely. That's good. Yeah. Number 3. This is my favorite. Set affirmations. I cannot stress that enough. Setting affirmations allows you to take control of your life, of your day, in every single moment. However, the best time, we have the most control of our time right when we open our eyes in the morning. That's when we have the most control of our time and the most control of setting the way we want our day to go. So first thing in the morning, depending on what you're trying to achieve in your life and career or personal life, set, those 2 to 5 affirmations on what you want to achieve for that day. You're putting that energy out into the universe, and the universe is going to conspire to make it happen. So, if you have a goal of, getting to the gym, 3 days a week, and this is a day that you have to go, just say, today I set the intention of getting to the gym, of hitting my workout. And first thing in the morning is when you have most control, because as that day goes on, things can kind of sway a little bit, but in the morning is when you have most control over your day. And I always tell people, especially people that I'm coaching, before you check your email, before you check your text messages, before you jump out of bed, before, somebody come and start trying to put everything on you, you take that time and you set the direction of your day. That's all affirmations is you taking control and taking charge of setting your affirmations for the day. So in regards to stress, you just say, I'm going to stay in my energy. I'm not going to allow the outside stressors, the outside forces, things that I have no control over, to alter my energy in any way today. Because at the end of the day, we can only control what we can control. We can't control what happens with other people, situations. And that's really just a setup for disaster if you think that you have control over everything that happens outside of yourself. We only, and even the things that happen to us, we really don't even have control. We only have control in how we respond to it. So we just set those emotions, set those affirmations first thing in the morning in regards to stress. Just saying you will stay in your energy, because things will come that will come at you that really don't have anything to do with you in regards to stress, and how you respond to it makes all the difference.
All right, number 4, sounds. Sounds can be used to help relieve stress. And number 1 sound I would say is music. We control the type of music we listen to. So there's a difference between, once again, listening to a radio program. Instead of being programmed by what's on the radio, having to listen to WAP. I got that wrong, right? But anyway, it's, you control with music. So if you find relaxation in listening to jazz music, or, like some soft R&B like myself. Matter of fact, I mix it up. I listen to jazz, I listen to R&B, anything like dealing with love or hope or inspiration. Because
those are high vibrations. Right now, we're in a lot of fear in the world. So to counteract that stress, you can't really listen to the music that's going to stress you out even more, like high tempo and, a lot of bounce. And all it's doing is adding a lot of noise.
Agitation to your soul.
So you want something that's going to calm you down. During stressful times.
If you're going to work out, that's different. You want to put on some warrior type music. So, if it's you against the weights or the push-up or the crunches or whatever, that's different, because you could use it as a form of motivation. But when you're trying to relieve stress, you definitely want to listen to things that are more common to the spirit. Also, things like ocean sounds. So if you can't get to the beach, you can go to YouTube and find one of those long 3 to 8 hour like ocean serenity sound type things, right? And get that sound in, and go into a meditative state and just kind of declutter and relax a little bit. Also, another form of sound would just be getting out into nature and listening to birds and crickets and things of that nature, or even hearing cars pass by. I'm talking about, we take for granted the fact that we have our sight and our ability of hearing. Don't take that stuff for granted, because if you lost it, you would really miss it. So, go out and soak in nature and hear kids playing. Kids are totally oblivious to what's going on. If you let them outside, they're still running and they're sounding cheerful. Soak all that in. All right. Number 5.
Visualize.
All right, number 5, visualize. So this also, like sound, are things that we have control over. Visualize a time when you were happy. You might want to look back at an old photo album and look at your family when you were either on a family vacation or, maybe a family reunion. Like, there had to have been a time in your life when you were happy. So it's like, go back listening to music from those periods, or looking at pictures from those periods can draw back memories and bring happiness to you,
That's true.
So use your visualization, or you could lay in your bed or on the couch and visualize. Just visualize happy moments.
Number 6 is read and write. Reading actually puts you in a whole different setting depending on what you're reading. Reading really captivates your attention, and it puts you in a whole new setting. So if maybe you're reading a novel that's taking you down a mystery or something, and that's something that brings you peace during a time of stress, that's okay. But reading really does, it takes you out of your current setting, current surroundings, and it zones you in on whatever you're reading. So that's another way to relieve stress. And sometimes you may just want to read comics because it's funny and it raises your vibration. That's something that you could read just to raise your vibrations. And writing. Writing is really good because it allows you to take stressful energy and transfer it, because remember, energy is never destroyed, it's just transferred or changes shape. So if you're feeling a certain kind of way, you're feeling stressed out, or you're feeling a certain kind of way about someone else, I always recommend write it on paper, okay? Write everything that's stressing you out, every emotion, everything that's really pissing you off in that moment, write it, all right? So you're now taking that energy from inside of yourself and you're putting it on paper, because when things sit, it festers, it rots. And when it's in there, it shows up. It shows up in everything you do, everything you say, and it can also show up in your physical body in illness, cancer, all that. A lot of things that occurs in our physical bodies is because it was something that was not handled or not healed way back when. So take that energy outside of yourself and put it on transfer it to something else, not to a person, because that's not what we want to do. But we do want to take that energy out of us, write it on paper. And I always say, when you're trying to release it, burn the paper. Write everything you want to do, everything you ever, everything about that situation. Burn it and release it. You release this energy. It's no longer holding you captive. It's no longer affecting your life. Burn it. It's gone.
All right. Number 7. This is my favorite. Cook. Either cook or go out and get your favorite meal. The most healthiest form of whatever your meal is, of course. But I think that a lot of people, when they're feeling sad or whatever, some people turn to bad foods like ice cream and cake, things like that. But
you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. But, if your favorite food is, a nice piece of fish or steak or whatever it is, make some vegetables with it or whatever, or eat a smaller portion. But definitely, you want to give your body some food. We keep calling soul food, like the traditional soul food.
But why do you like to cook? How does that relieve stress?
Like to cook?
The process of it?
Yeah, to me, the process of cooking. Some people like to golf. The time when I golf, it just takes up too much time and you have to leave your house. But if you're in your house, people find hobbies, and I took up cooking as a hobby, to take place of basketball. I used to spend a few hours every day playing basketball. But now, I find myself in the kitchen cooking and in creative mode. And at the end of the day, I love watching people eat and be happy. I like to see people swing their feet under the table when they're tasting my meals. But so cooking, either cook or go out and purchase your meal, or purchase a meal from Chef Russ. All right, let's go on number 8.
Exercise. I think everybody knows that's a great way to relieve stress. Exercise, walk out in nature, take that frustration out in the gym, run. People like to run. Whatever it is, just get your body moving, because it's another way to transfer that stress. So walking and exercise is a great way to do it.
All right. Number 9, work on a project. So over the years, there were several things that I wanted to do. I wanted to do a cookbook. I wanted to write several books, and I'm going to try to accomplish those goals. But during the quarantine season, it's like, working from home, I had a lot of extra time on my hands. So a little birdie said, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. And my advice to most of the people out there, if you did not take advantage of this time and you're not coming out of quarantine with either a new hobby, a new something, a new business, shame on you, because everybody has that gift. It's like we were all born with like $1 million idea or project inside of us, but it's like we hold ourselves back by blocking our own blessings. Take advantage of this time, work a project, because it's like a baby or a birth. You're birthing something, and it's like take pride in it. So I myself personally, I went ahead and put out my cookbook, working on a couple other books in the background. I put out a sauce, doing meal prep, working with Janie with her weight loss clients, things like that, helping people lose weight. And we're having some miraculous stories of people losing weight in short periods of time, by controlling their calorie counts and eating higher quality foods. Mm-hmm. So that's it. Work on a project.
That's good. All right. So number 10 is connect with all your loved ones. We have to be very creative nowadays, but connect, do the Zoom, do the Skype, do the FaceTime, whatever it is, connect, check on loved ones, be connected. That's pretty much it. We all feel some type of way when we're surrounded by love. That's just the truth of the matter.
Right. And just in closing, a lot of people are going through, there's a lot of depression, and people are so much worried about the pandemic with the disease right now, but look at what's happening with people outside of the disease, like the depression and anxiety that people are suffering. You have children who are being abused. We have domestic violence within homes, suicides. There are so many different things that are triggering people right now where they're, harming themselves and others. But, don't be afraid to be alone. We were discussing this before we came on air, that there is a big difference between loneliness and solitude. Like, there's power in solitude. Loneliness is like people feel that they need to be loved and surrounded by people in order to feel better with themselves. But there's power in solitude because now you have a chance to work on yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you don't love yourself, how do you expect other people to love you? How do you expect, if you can't live with yourself, for other people to want to live with you? So it has to become a situation where we learn how to love ourselves, whatever that issue is. So, use some of these methods to, de-stress. And we would like to hear what some of your methods are. We don't have all the answers. We just gave 10. I'm sure there's many others. So we love great feedback, and for you guys to add on to what we've already discussed.
Yep. Awesome. So, guys, this has been another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. My name is Janie Charlot, and this is Russell Bruce. And this has been a discussion on 10 ways to relieve stress. This podcast is inspired by love, God, relationships, spirituality, justice, culture, family, children, finances, freedom, personal growth, energy and vibrations, universal principles, health, education, masculine, feminine energy, music and all things of the heart and soul. Again, we appreciate you guys. Please like our podcast. Please share it. Share it with your friends, your family members. Our goal is to be service to humanity during this time.
And click the subscribe button down there in the bottom. I think it's going to be right down there.
Yeah, it'll be down there somewhere. All right, guys. Take care and see you next time.
Peace.